This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, cool. So we will get start our demo session. Um, so before I get start with demo, let me introduce myself. I'm Lakshman, having 12 years experience in Java and J2EE technologies. Yeah, and I work for the product-based companies, one of the product-based companies. And during my free time, so every day 1 hour, one and a half hour, I'll be doing this training sessions. I'm doing from last 12 years. So this is a little introduction about myself, and let me tell you that, let me set the expectations. So what you can expect in this demo 1 hour or 45 minutes, whatever we are going to spend. Make it interactive. One thing. So whenever you have a doubt, you can unmute yourself and you can ask the question. The second thing is the demo. This demo session just it will give you the overview of the what are the things we are going to learn and what you will be covering. This is what I'm going to give the overview of this program. Yeah, and what is the course content? Like you would have got the email. What is the course content and what we are going to cover? Once again, I'm going to spend some time on the uh, on the course content. So when it comes to the Java full stack, you know that Java full stack, if you are taking here, Java has got the huge demand. Okay, these uh, most of the enterprise grade applications, their first choice would be the Java. Now when it comes to the Java also evolving so fast. There are a lot of frameworks are coming into the market, and uh, then in order to adapt the changes, the ecosystem changes, Java people has also has to uh, change their language and enhance their languages has to be done. That's what keep on doing that here. Now if you look at here, Java 19 is the latest version now. Java 19 is the latest version. If you are taking here 3 years ago, you are doing the project in Java 8. Java, not even Java 8, Java 7, Java 6, we are doing that here. Now it's Java 19. And every 6 months they are releasing the one new version, they are releasing that here. Every 6 months one new version is going to be released. Don't worry about the whenever new versions are released, sometimes developer will not know that what are the new enhancements it has been done. It is maybe internal to the JVM, or internal functionality. Sometimes they may give the uh, huge huge changes, and Java 8 is a major changes as they have done. And then Java 11, then Java 19. Each feature, they each release they are going to add some new features into the Java side. Okay. Even language also, it has to it has to evolve. Otherwise, no. So the language will be kicked out of the market if the changes are happening. They should also adapt. Otherwise, it will lose its shine, and people start hating that language. That's the one reason Java is a top language from last 2 decades. Yeah. So, and one more thing is along with the Java, these days every Java developer are expected to know the frameworks. That is a Spring framework. Yeah, the Spring framework also, it has done a lot of changes, and then there is a Spring applications will be created by using the Spring Boot. This is another thing. So as a Java developer, you are expected to know. So here, then there are a lot of other things, writing the JUnit test cases, then writing the knowing about the databases. So if you are choosing your career as a developer, I will say that you must have the three skills: one programming language, and one database, and knowledge on the UI side. These three things are mandatory. Okay, these three things are mandatory: the programming language, the database, and UI. So here, the programming languages, you can choose whatever the your personal preference. Personal preference are you will be guided by the somebody. So maybe you may go with the Python, or you may go with the Java, or .NET. So these are the things you would be taking here. Now, when it comes to the database, So here you can take the any database. So you must know SQL. So like if you are comfortable with the SQL, you can go and work with the any databases. You can go and work with the any databases. The sample databases are something like the Oracle, MySQL. Then you have a Postgres SQL. Then here we have a DB2. Like this, we have got the a number of databases we have in the market. There be so you can list like in a big list. We can list that. The most widely and used databases are Oracle, MySQL, and PostgreSQL will be used extensively. And there is a NoSQL databases also. There is a NoSQL databases. These days people are using that here. Among NoSQL databases, MongoDB is one of the most widely used database. Now, do you need to learn all these databases? No, you are going to learn only SQL. SQL is a common language for all your relational databases. All the relational databases, SQL is a common language. So then UI. When it comes to the UI, the basic knowledge of what is a web page, how these web pages are constructed, what are the things it is involved, like the HTML, then there is something called the CSS, then there is a JavaScript. Okay, JavaScript, and here we have something called the Ajax, how this Ajax calls works. Then the frameworks. Like if it comes to the framework, and here in UI side we have a frameworks. Most popular frameworks are Angular and React. Okay, these two frameworks are most widely used frameworks. Once you get familiar with you can choose any one of these languages, Java or so Python or .NET. So as a full stack developer, Java side, you have chosen the Java is your favorite or your first programming language. You have chosen that. Then here we are going to learn the database. We are going to learn with the SQL by using the Postgres SQL, and we will be learning we are not going to learn the React. We will be learning the in this course Angular. We are going to learn that here. Now here you may get the doubt here, where is this programming languages and how we are going to use it in the applications, how we are going to use the applications and where databases and how it is going to fit that here. Okay, let's take a simple example. I'm going to give it here. Whenever you take any application, real-time applications, your data is going to be persist in a database. Your data is going to be persist in a database. It is going to persist here. Now, once my data is stored in my database, and I have to access this data, Here I want to access this is the data I want to access from my application. Okay, your database server will be running in somewhere. We don't know where it is running. It may be running in Myzon AWS, or you may be having the local instance, or you may be having your organization may have its own database services will be running in their own data centers. Now from your application, you need to connect with these databases. We need to connect with the databases. I can send the data, I can push the data to the databases. At the same time, I can fetch the data from the databases. In order to talk to these databases, this database understands only SQL. Okay, whatever the data you are going to insert, it will take the SQL queries only, it will understand. Now here your programming language is Java. Okay. So this is, as a Java developer, what you will do here is, how do I establish the connection from the Java application to the SQL? So you will learn about something concept called some JDBC or some other concepts like JPA or something. You'll use it here. As a Java developer, what you are doing here is based on your business requirement, whatever the operations you want to perform here, the business logic, what are the business logic, and connecting with the external databases or external resources, or communicating with the other APIs. That is a main job of this Java developer. Connecting with the databases, connecting with the other APIs, connecting with the other applications. All these things will be done by the Java developer, and he is the one who is going to write the core logic. The Java developers are going to write it here. And to interact with the databases and writing the complex queries, there will be a database developers. They will do that. But as a full stack developer, you are expected to know how to interacting with your databases and writing the at least the CRUD queries, you must aware of that. Now, what are the data I'm going to process? I'm going to connect with the databases. I'm going to process the data. Finally, I filter data and I'm going to create I got the filter data. This is the data I want to give to the show to the client. When you are going to show to the client, then you cannot show this is like raw data. We are going to develop a UI screens for that. So in this UI screens, the data, whatever you are giving in terms of a container object, or it may be you are giving in terms of JSON, and these UI developers are going to develop maybe they may develop the card view, or maybe they may be developing the table, and what are the content you are giving here, this content will be rendered on the UI pages. This content is going to be rendered on the UI pages. This UI guys will ask you, hey, can you give me this data? And as a Java developer, you will be writing some APIs or based on the you will do some validation, whether he is a valid user, whether he has access to access this data. All these things you will check it here, and if everything is fine, then you are going to hit the database and you will get the data, and finally you will make this data available to him, and he is going to present this data in the form of a table or maybe a card view, some other forms he is going to do that here. This is a job of the UI developer. Now here, as a full stack developer, you are expected to do this as well. Okay, you should be comfortably creating the even UI also. You should be comfortable be creating that here. So this is at the development phase. Like UI, you have three things here. UI, this is the backend, and this is the databases. Okay, so the full stack developers are expected to know UI, Java. Java means it's not like core Java alone. You can develop the enterprise applications. We need other frameworks, how to use that frameworks. Those all the things you will be introducing in this layer. And databases, it's a straightforward where you are going to create a database instance where you will be persisting your data and retrieving your data. And once you have developed this application, just imagine that you have developed this application. This application has to be deployed. It has to be managed. Okay, this has to be continuous integration and continuous deployment has to be happen. That's the places where we are going to use the CI/CD tools. We are going to use it here. When you are using the CI/CD, bare minimum things you are expected to know how to work with your source code repositories. The team will be working in across the globe, and different time zones they will be working on that. There should be a common place where everybody will put the code end of the day, and the code will be picked by your CI/CD tools, and it is going to be deployed into the respective servers. It is going to be deployed. So we should get familiar with the one version control system and one build tool. Build tools are like we have in Maven, and there is something called the Gradle. Okay, Maven or Gradle. So this is two most widely used build tools, either Maven or a Gradle. You can choose either Maven or Gradle. So most of the projects I have seen that is they are using the Maven, and the recent one who are using who are really fond of the groovy scripts, the people will go with the Gradle. So here you are going to cover the Maven. I'm going to cover here. These build tools will help us managing your dependencies, managing your versions, because all these things will be controlled by or managed by the build tools. Maven or Gradle we would be using here. Now here Git, we should get familiar with that, and then there is the Maven or Gradle, and after that CI/CD tools. If it comes to that, then there is something called whatever the code you are going to write it here. The code has to be follow the certain standards. Code has to follow the certain standards. If it is not followed the certain standards, the code should not be allowed to deploy into the production, or they don't allow. There will be a quality gauge. If you don't pass that quality gauge, your application is not going to be deployed. And what is those quality gates and how that will be checked? There is something called the Sonar. Okay, the Sonar Cube. Okay, this is Sonar Cube. You can say that Sonar Cube is the one which will check your code quality. If everything is fine, then it will allow you to proceed your build. Otherwise, it won't allow you to build and deploy your application. Okay. When there is
Excuse
a,
me, sir.
go ahead,
Hello.
please. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm unable to see your screen. Can you just share it?
Oh my goodness, I didn't share the screen. I'm speaking from last 20 minutes.
Yeah, I have texted you, but you haven't observed.
I'm extremely sorry. Okay. Yeah,
Yeah, thank you.
I'm sorry. I'm explaining these things. Okay. I think yeah, I'm sorry for that. Here, this is what I'm explaining here, how the communication is happens. Like now from UI application to the Java, Java to the JDBC, uh, like now, yeah, then here we are going, I'm explaining about the CI/CD tools, how these CI/CD tools are going to happen, JIT, and when you're taking here Maven or Gradle and SonarQube, and then there is something called the Jenkins. Okay, so this automate all this process. We use this something called the Jenkins. We are going to use it here. Jenkins, you would be using that. So these are all the things we should, as a developer, we should get familiar with that. And along with that, sometimes what happens, you will get a data like different formats. You will get it here, and quickly you want to clean the data, and the data has to be pushed to the systems. So they that is the places where, as a Java developer, you may use the something called the Python. Okay, the Python scripts are you can do certain things very easily. You can quickly write the scripts. You can write it here. Uh, compared to writing the code in Java, those scripts you can write it in Python very easily. You can write it here. Sometimes what happen, you need to do the integration of the two applications. We need to do that. When you are doing the integration of the two applications, the most of the times what happen, we will get the integration means you are exchanging the data. The data formats will be different formats. You will be getting that. You need to clean the data, and once you clean the data, then you have to push the data to the other system. You need to, or you need to dump to the databases. So that's the places where you can write the Python scripts. You can write it here. As a Java developer, it is good to know the Python as well. And in this course, what we are going to cover is here the module 1. I'm going to cover the programming fundamentals. This program will start from the writing the hello world applications. What is the IDE? How we are going to use how we are going to write a hello world application? How do you set up the JDK? Yeah. Then what is the difference between J2SE, J2EE, and JRE and JDK? The fundamentals it will start, and we'll discuss the concepts, the collections and the threadings, reflection, exceptions, and how to write a if statement, for loops. Those all concepts will be discussed. Once we are done with that, then we are going to discuss about the databases. And the databases, I will discuss both the databases, SQL and NoSQL databases. More focus will be given on the SQL databases will be given the more focus, more emphasis will be given. And MongoDB, if time permits, we'll discuss MongoDB. It depends on the audience if they are asking. So we'll discuss about that. Now, once we learn that here, how we are going to connect with your database with the your what you can say core Java application, how we are going to from Java application, how we are going to interact with the databases. That's a part. Then we'll develop a one application. So similarly, we are going to go to the module 2, where we are going to learn about the HTML, CSS, and Bootstrap. And this is a UI component we will be learning here. Once you get familiar with the UI component, then we are going to, the next step, we are going to take it as an Angular framework. We'll take it here. And in this Angular, now you don't expect the full-fledged entire course. What are the bare minimum things as a full stack developer you required? Connecting with the APIs and rendering the data, then developing your own components. Those all things will covered in Angular framework. And then the another more focused in this course is a Spring framework, where Spring has got a lot of modules. We will be discussing about these are the modules we are going to cover. And then the module 5, we are going to discuss about the CI/CD tools. So Gradle or Maven and Jenkins and Sonar, Heroku, how we are going to deploy your applications into the Heroku or Google Cloud Platform. If you are not using the Heroku, we may go with the GCP, Google Cloud Platform. You may use it here, and then we learn about the fundamentals of the Python, the core Python we are going to cover here. Yes. Okay. Somebody is asking, is it a class every day? Yes, every day it is a 1.5 hour session. So you will have the every day 1.5 hour. Yeah. So this is the expected. These are the things we are going to cover in this course. Like whatever we promised here in this content, we'll cover this. Along with that, there is some extra things will be covered. Yeah. Yeah. Somebody has
Excuse.
question. Go ahead. Yeah. Go ahead.
So what is class timing?
It is a time not yet decided. Probably it will be 6:30 to 8 in the morning IST time.
6:30 to 8. Okay. Okay. India time.
Yeah, IST.
All right. Okay. So, so what's the importance of React and Angular means does we need to cover Angular and React as well after the completion of this, or what is the benefit? Like, so is there any benefit, or it's not that much benefitful, or what exactly is your this?
Okay. See, if you are working as a full stack developer, you are expected to know either Angular or React. Like now, the application may not use both the things. Angular or
Okay.
React, both the things will not be used. Suppose if you take my project where I am working, they use React. If some other company, they may prefer the React. Okay. If you are
Okay.
working on React, if you are an Angular developer, you are asked to learn the React. If you are a React developer, if you are your company is working on the Angular, you are asked to learn the Angular. So
Oh,
to learn Angular or React, the foundation is a JavaScript.
okay. 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 Thank you. What's your good name? Sorry, I forgot.
It's Lakshman.
Lakshman. All right. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Lakshman.
No problem. Yeah. Fine. Any other question? I would, yeah. Feel free to ask any question. Like now, you can. So yeah. No. To best of my knowledge, I will answer your questions. Yeah. No questions. Okay. Oh, okay. The class is yeah, fine. Yeah, that is timings is correct.
Where can we see the videos?
Every day the videos will be shared with the register email ID. Okay.
Okay, if you don't register any email ID,
If you don't have register email ID,
yeah,
so you can check with them. I mean, I don't know what is that process. You can like now the concerned person Vijaya or somebody who is contacting, you can ask them. Yeah,
yeah, fine, fine.
yeah, because I'm not aware of that like how those sharings will happen. Yeah. The source code, what are the source code we are going to develop? Also, if you have any questions, can you meet behind the past timings? Probably no. Like now, if you have any questions, you can connect 5 minutes early or 10 minutes early before the session. Like now, because I will be busy with my own things. Like now, we can spend extra 10 minutes before session or after session. Okay, if I don't answer, if I promise now, if I don't answer, it won't be good. Yeah, that's the reason I'm saying upfront. After the session hours, like we will get it into the other meetings and may not be possible. Yeah. We can extend the session by 10 minutes or we can connect early. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. Now, how this session is going to start, or like now, how we'll be explaining what IDs we are going to use it here. I'm going to use the IntelliJ ID. I'm going to use it here for all the sessions. Like now, whenever we start our session, let me show you the like now. So we will create one GitHub repository. We are going to create it here, and these are some of the classroom examples. You can see that here. Uh, uh, the way we start here, like now the everyday this is a today's session. If you look at here, and today what we covered and what are the things it is added. So 37 minutes ago something is committed. What are those things it's committed in today's session? We can see that here. Like no, we added the something employee repository in employee controller. We have added this is changes we have made. Everything. End of the day, the code, whatever the code we have done, that this code will be pushed to the GitHub repository. You will be pulling that code and you are going to access that code. So you'll have access like no, that's a lifetime access. So once you register for that, like no, those repositories are open repositories. You can access the source code whenever you want. And if there is any questions on the GitHub, you can pull the code and you can ask the comments. Like no, hey, this is part I didn't understand. Like no, we will be responding to your questions on the GitHub also. Yeah. As a beginner, when you're starting your applications, first and foremost thing is the installation. Okay, we are going to do the setup, basic setup. We are going to do that here. This basic setup, when you're doing here, the required tools are like whether required tools are here. One is the JDK we required, obviously. Okay, this is a JDK version. What version we are going to use it here? That is a big question. But these days, Java, you can install the multiple versions. You need not worry about the whether should I install the JDK 8 or 9 or 10. You can install the multiple versions. I would go with the JDK 19 this batch. So we'll take the latest version. We are going to take it here. And IntelliJ IDE. So we are going to use the IDE. So if you have a personal preference like Eclipse or NetBeans or some other IDE, you can go ahead with that. But I'm going to use the IntelliJ IDE. I'm going to use it here. Okay, this is the ID. I'm going to use it here. The same ID, whatever I'm using currently. So either you can use the you can use the latest version. I think this is the latest version. About if I'm looking at here, IntelliJ Community Edition. This is a Community Edition. They have two editions. One is a Community Edition, and another one is the full-fledged edition. That's called the Enterprise Edition, where we have to pay for that. Like now, you have to pay some amount, and we have to buy that here. I like now as a to learn Java and to do the basic things. Like this is a Community Edition is good enough for us. Okay, just I'm going to take it as this is ID. I'm going to take it here. Oh, there is so much content it has given here. We don't require all these things. So this is ID. I'm going to use it here. IntelliJ Community Edition. How many weeks this course is this? Okay. It comes around 85 hours, close to. Okay, you can calculate that way. It comes 85 hours. 85 hours, I'll say that you can calculate roughly 90 hours. Yeah, 90 hours in every day. It is a 1.5 hour session. So that's the way you can calculate that. Okay, this is the ID, and I'm going to use the Git. I'm going to use it here. And here, when you are working with the Git, we need to install the Git bash. Okay, Git, we are going to install the Git bash. You are going to install, and you have to create one GitHub account. GitHub account you created here. GitHub account you create. So this is a free. You need not to pay anything for that. And you need to install the Git bash. So you can download and install the Git bash. And then you will be using the other tools is here. Maximum we may use the when you are learning the UI, we require the VS Code. Okay, VS Code is another IDE. So we can use the, especially when you're working with the UI code. Like we will be using the VS Code. Yeah, it is it has got a lot of plugins where we can work easily with the VS Code. So it will help us great. It's a Visual Studio. It is a Visual Studio code. Okay, VS Code will say that here. Visual Studio, it is going to take around 300 MB. Visual Studio, it will be only some 60 to 70 MB. It comes around. Okay, somebody is asking question. Sorry. Okay, I'm not looking at the messages. Okay, chart. Is this class day every day includes initial? Yeah, it will be included every day. Initial first 2 weeks we may not have the weekends. Okay, then from third week onwards we'll have the weekend sessions as well. Weekends is a Saturday only. Sunday it's completely off. Then you will be working with the databases. Like now here, when you're using with the databases, I'm going to use the PostgreSQL. Uh, I'll tell you that how to install the PostgreSQL, and this PostgreSQL and all these things we will run like a Dockers. Okay, we will run it as a Dockers. Okay, Docker, and I will explain you how to install the Docker and what is a Docker and how this Dockers works. We don't want to spend more time in installing this PostgreSQL. Like now, like every day these days, everybody is asking the knowledge about the Docker, how this Docker containerization works, how to container, how do you containerize your applications. These things you should get familiar with that. I'll explain the Docker and how to get the Dockers and how we are going to run the Docker instances. We'll discuss about that as well. Okay. Here installation, when you're doing here PostgreSQL and all these things, we will not install the in our machine. We are going to run by using the Docker container. We'll take the Docker container from the existing latest from the Docker registry. We'll take it and we are going to run the PostgreSQL. If you don't require, we are going to stop that here. Okay, this is another thing, PostgreSQL. Then here we are going to work with the Tomcat server, Apache Tomcat. Apache Tomcat, anyway, you'll get it, Apache Tomcat, embedded Tomcat server, you'll get with the Spring Boot. We are going to get it here. And we will get familiar with we'll install the Sonar. This is also, we'll use the Docker, and then we'll use the Jenkins. This is also, we'll use the Docker. Okay, Docker installation, we'll do that. We'll use the Docker. With the Docker, we'll install the Jenkins. Then Sonar, and then so there is some plugins we are using here, Jacoco, like now to test that code coverage, how much code coverage is happened, and to check that. This is the things we'll be using that here, and we'll be installing the Maven. Okay, Maven or Gradle, we must install that here. Okay, from the day one itself, we'll get started with the Maven project. We will not start the like now writing the hello world example, like creating the standalone projects. Always we'll create a Maven project. We'll create it here. So these are the things we need to install in your machine. Okay, these all these things we will install. But in a day one itself, we will not install all the things. In a day one, we are going to install the 4 things we are going to install here. So what are those things? These 4 things is very important for us. So to get start our session. So JDK, IntelliJ IDE, GitHub, and Maven. So these are the good enough for us to continue the till core Java. And once you complete the core Java, then before going to the UI, you need to learn about the SQL. So when you are doing the SQL part, this is what you are going to, the PostgreSQL you are going to use, and we will be installing with the Docker. If your machines are not powerful and if it is old machines, then I'll explain you that how to install the PostgreSQL on your without Docker. How do you install on on your machine? I will be explaining about that in the classroom itself. Then we will install the Visual Studio Code. And after that, like once we reach everything end of the session, we'll learn about the Python. So when you're using the Python, we'll use the IDE called the PyCharm. And I will explain the like now by the time once you complete this Java course, like now Python is it's very quickly you can learn that. And the real practical uses of the Python, where are the places we'll use it as a Java developer. I'll show you that some of the scripts, how to write the scripts and how those scripts can be used in your applications. I will explain about that. So this is a plan for the course and the tools which we are going to use it in this course. Any questions here? Anyone has any questions?
Yeah, are we going to learn about MongoDB?
That's what I told. MongoDB, we'll explain that here. Like now, if the more people are interested, and then yeah, I'm going to touch that MongoDB and how this like now how relational databases are different from the document-based databases. Writing the queries and those all these things we'll explain. After that, like now when you're learning the Spring, whether you will go back and connect with the MongoDB or not, like depends on the the audience, like the number of people are asking that, then we'll go with that. So as a part of the course, yes, the MongoDB will be covered.
Can you send the modules PDF in the chat or somewhere?
Yeah, you will get an email. Okay, this document you will get an email. Yeah.
Oh,
This
okay.
is what you're asking. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm asking about that.
Yeah. So you will get an email. Don't worry. So, any other questions? Okay, you may ask. You may have the one more question that now, what kind of projects we will develop during this learning phase? What kind of projects and what kind of applications I will be developing here? To take a simple examples. Okay, let me take that as what we will be learning. Yeah, cool. What kind of projects you are going to build that here? Just I'll just give the demo of that. Yes. I'm sorry. Okay. So this is one of the application which is created in a classroom. Okay, just it's like now simple IPL statistics application. So you are this is a completely developed in the UI is Angular and the backend is it is the Spring Boot it is used and it's developed here. Now let's take it here. This is IPL if I'm taking here. And what are the teams? This all these things it's getting from the data from the database it is getting here. Suppose if I'm selecting the RR. So now here the team has got the how many the players what are the list of the players. Suppose here there is a 40 bowlers. Okay, it is developed 2 years ago. So who are the 40% is the bowlers? Who are those bowlers? Just you can get the statistics of that. These are the basic statistics. I'm not saying that it's a super statistics. Yes, it is a team statistics, and the team which has spent the more money, just you are going to see that here. This is a team which has spent the more money. Where they have spent the more money, they have spent the more money on the 44% they have spent on the all-rounders. Okay, this is all-rounders they have spent, and we don't have the further drill down. We can do the further drill down also. We didn't do that. And doing statistics, this is what the maximum paid, minimum paid players, who are that? The basic statistics is
డెమో ఆమెను వినమని చెప్పింది కాల్ చేసి కొనుక్కున్నావా
okay.
ఆ,
Okay, I'm going to mute Vaishali. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, it happens. Yeah. So we can people are
sorry
busy.
sir.
No problem. Yeah. Yeah, here we are going to take it as the bidding statistics, where you would be seeing that which player and who is maximum paid batsman, bowler, all-rounder. All this information here. This is a very very simple project. I can say that here. This simple project, how this has developed is here. We will tell you the approach, how this project is developed. What are the seed data it's required. Everything I'll be giving here. Okay, most of the things I covered. I don't want to go through once again the same thing. How this application is developed here. It is architecture of the application. There is a presentation layer. There is a business layer. There is a data access layer. The presentation layer is where we are going to use the Angular. We are going to use it here. The business layer is a business layer where we are going to use all your Java components. Now you will get familiar with the what is a domain object, DTO object, services, controllers, repositories. So these are the things you'll get. You'll be learning that, and then the repositories are going to talk to your databases. Now, if it comes to the architecture, this is architecture we are following. And first, your this now in our projects, the entire team is going to work on the presentation layer. Some teams are going to work on the business layer. Other people are going to work on the database layer. So you're working as a full stack developer. They would prefer full stack developer. The reason is that when whatever you are telling to the UI developer, you know that like now how this UI works. It is easy for you to communicate with that. It's not like you are going to work all the places. No, UI and business logic and data layer. If there is a small issues here, like you should be in a position to fix that. Yeah, that's the one reason they will ask the the person should have the full stack knowledge. Like really, literally, you will not go and work on each and everything. Each and everything, it's impossible. Like no, the amount of work if you are working in a server side guy, so the amount of workload you get it in a server side and fixing the issues. Like a full day you will be busy with your own work. You will not have time to do this here. And there is a separate teams for that. Like the UI, you will have separate team. But as a full stack developer, you can tell, hey, this is the way I'm sending the response. Hey, why don't you you send a request in this format? You can communicate him easily, and you can make him understand easily, or he can whatever he is explaining, you can also understand that. That's one reason these days everybody is asking full stack developers. No, and here once you develop that application, how this applications has to be deployed. Like no, this application is can be deployed in a Firebase or S3. My UI application intentionally we deployed in different cloud services we deployed. The reason is should get familiar with the what are the different things, and when you are communicating with this, what are the problems you'll face to solve that. Here we deployed the Heroku. We deployed the server-side application is we deployed in Heroku, and the databases we deployed in MongoDB Atlas. This is a Mongo Atlas is again it's a service provider, Mongo Cloud service provider. So they give the MongoDB Atlas they have a free tier up to some MB data they are going to give it here. I exactly forgot that number. So we, as a learner, and when you are developing the hobby projects, you shouldn't be spending money on the buying the servers and all these things. No, there are some. These all are free things. Okay, except to S3. S3 again we have to buy that. There is a free tier in that also. In that you also free tier. We can use the free tier. We can use it here. And this business batch, I'm thinking of doing the everything is a GCP. Okay. Google Cloud Platform, we are going to create an instance and we'll learn about all these things. The reason is they are giving you the some $500 3 months, even without credit card you can register with them, and you can play with all the cloud services. You can play with that within 3 months. If you exhausted with that money, then by the time, I think 3 months is a good time to learn the all the cloud related stuff. What are the things you are planning to learn? You can learn that. So all these things will move to the Google Cloud Platform. We'll move that. So how to create an instance, how to install that, how to install the software. Those all these things we'll learn by using the GCP. Okay, if it is a GCP is not possible, then we'll go with the same stack. We are going to use that here. Okay, I'm making a confusing statements. Don't worry. So we should get familiar with your application deployment. Either you use the Heroku or AWS or Google Cloud Platform. So that's up to the organization what they are going to take the decision. Now, in our case, Heroku is definitely it is going to be free for a free tier. You can deploy the up to 5 applications you can deploy. And the similar thing we have available. We can use the GCP, or you can use the one more thing is AWS. AWS it requires the credit card details. So GCP doesn't require, even debit card is also good enough. Just they are going to charge you 1 rupee, 2 rupees they will charge, and within 10 days, within 24 hours they will return you that 2 rupees also. You have a 3 months free tier. Within 3 months, if you are happy with that services, if really you want to get it into the business, then you may extend that. Otherwise, they will not auto renew. So, and when you confirm only, that is going to be renew will happen. So GCP, we can go ahead with that. How to work with the GCP, we'll see that. Okay, this is the way the applications are going to be deployed, and how to deploy that, how to packaging that. Those all the things we will be explaining in the class. And finally, this is at a high level where our components are went and just we can see that. Okay, the project demo which I am giving here, this is a project demo which I'm explaining that here. This is a relatively very simple project. I'm saying that it's not at all complex project. It's like once you learn the Angular and you learn the how to write the APIs and learning the Spring Boot and all these things, probably it may take the 2 days job, not more than that. Not more than that, 2 days job. In the classrooms, I'll be explaining this project. I'll be creating this project in 2 days. I'll show you that how to create this project completely hands-on.
Is this
Yeah,
data coming from database or is it hard coded?
database, sir.
Okay.
It's coming from the API. It is coming from the API, and you can see that inspect element. If you go to the network tab, let me change the team. Okay. You are getting the data from the database. So this is RCB. These are there are 6 roles are there, and RCB, if you take it here, 2 APIs are calling. One API to get the all the player details, one API to get the role details. Okay, to display these roles, this is a API it is called. There is a 6 roles, 6 all-rounders, 7 bowlers. This is what this data we are displaying in the form of a Google chat. Clear?
Yeah, thank you.
Total, how
On
many projects we will do? If you're asking the question, core Java, you can expect the at least 3 projects, 2 to 3 projects will do that. Then when it comes to the Spring, we may do the multiple projects. We'll do that here. When you're doing the email, when you're doing the we need to do the one CRUD application. One is like a kind of a already you have a data, you will take the data from the, let's take a simple example I'm giving here. This is the data we have here. This is the employee data. I got this data from the macro seed data I created here. We have a department details. I want to know the statistics, how many female which is the country the more female employees are working, or something which country the salaries are highest salaries, some kind of a basic statistics you want to do that here. This can be made it as a one application. Yeah, we will be creating the multiple applications. You will be creating that, that's up to you how you are going to take it here. One example, sometimes it looks like a one project. Yeah, especially when you are working with the Spring Boot and the Spring applications. Okay. Minimum you are going to do some 10 projects. You will do it in this entire course.
Are we
Yeah,
also going to work with some cloud computing things or tools?
See, that's what I told. No, so either we will be using with the GCP. GCP is a cloud platforms. Okay, where
Okay.
you will be introduced to the how to create an instance and how we are going to launch your services. Those things I'll explain.
Okay, so
So do you cover JSP servlets, Hibernate, and Spring Boot in this?
Servlets and JSP, I'll just explain you what it is and how the things works. We will not spend more time in JSPs and servlets. Yeah. The reason is these days every application is going with the Spring and the Spring Boot. Yeah, and where everything is APIs, they are going to use it here. Okay, so JSPs are kind of a old and legacy things, but definitely it is going to help you to understand how web works and how MEC applications works. So we'll give you the introduction and we'll do the small examples on these the servlets and JSPs. Yeah, when it comes to the Hibernate, we are going to do the Spring JPA. Spring JPA, which internally Spring data, which internally uses the Hibernate.
Okay.
Yeah. What is that? Did you say TCP? I don't know. I didn't get that. No, GCP. I'm saying that. Sorry. Okay, it is Google Cloud Platform.
so what we actually do on this GitHub, you said to create the account, right?
Yeah, GitHub is a place where you are going to let's take it here, the GitHub. If you are taking here, what what are the projects you have created so far? What, like, no, I created this data. Now I need to
Okay.
share with this project, like, no, the whenever you are working in a projects, the projects may have the multiple teams or multiple
Mm-hmm.
people are working in a team. Now where
Mm-hmm.
do you made some changes, and somebody else is required that changes. So where do you put your common code? You should have the place for that. It has to manage the versions. Suppose something you have introduced the bug. Okay, you, not
Mm.
me, I have introduced the bug, and that code is, you are reporting that, hey, there is some bug in this code. Then you want to go back to the previous version. To maintain these versions and to share the code among the developers, we use the common place. That's, we call it as a version control system. Either Git or
Mm.
GitHub or Bitbucket, we are going to use it. So most of the
Okay.
organizations, they uses the GitHub or Bitbucket. So our
So it's
organization,
only useful when we are doing projects, not other than that, right?
see, directly you cannot learn all the things in the project, no. So from the day one, if you
Mm-hmm.
get started, if you get familiar, when you're working in a project, it will become easy.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Any other questions? Yeah, good. Yeah, it's a more interactive session. I think this is the first demo which I have more interaction. Yeah. So always it will be one way. Yeah. Good. So, any other questions?
Sorry.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
what is
Yeah.
this PostgreSQL? Is it a part of SQL itself? Are we gonna
See,
use the same commands?
SQL is a, when it comes to the SQL is a, it's a, like, no, the SQL standards which is given by the SQL group.
Mm-hmm.
What are the databases? It is saying that relational databases, they have to follow those standards.
Okay. Basically rules kind of thing.
Yes, you can say it as a set of rules only. Yeah. uh, like, if you know SQL, you can go and
Mm.
work with any relational databases. The relational databases are, some example are Oracle, DB2, Derby, PostgreSQL. These are the some of the databases.
Okay, then what are these PostgreSQL and VSE code
The
or you have
PostgreSQL
it?
is yeah.
Yeah.
Let me explain. Yeah. The
Mm-hmm.
MySQL, Oracle, the similar line, there is a PostgreSQL is also another database.
Okay. Okay, okay. Mhm.
Okay. See, that is
What is this
what
VSE? Is that visualization thing?
no. VS Code is the IDE. Okay. So when it comes to the VS Code, it is an IDE. So where you
IDE
can
for?
IDE for the UI development, we can use that. Yeah.
Oh, okay, okay. Mhm.
See, like Notepad, how you have VS Code, you will be using that.
Mhm. Okay.
Okay. So this is a Visual Studio Code. I don't know. I don't have setup. It is saying that it's bad. I don't think so. I have a setup.
Okay.
Okay, this is a VS Code, like, no, the, why it is saying that it is not set. I must be having that. Okay, more apps, all apps we are going to look at here. VS Code. Okay, VS Code, VS.
There. Mm.
I don't have the VS Code. I don't know. Yeah, something it is missed. Okay, we can install that VS Code. Yeah.
Okay.
Do you also cover microservices? Microservices, as a part of the course, will not cover. If majority of them are asking, I will try to cover that. During 1 or 2 weekends, we'll cover that. Not in the regular session. Yeah. Okay. Thank you guys, and I hope you learned something from me. If you have any questions, I may stay for some more time. Otherwise, we can end up the session.
Before the next class, should we install all the like this JDK, IDE, Git Bash, and Maven?
See, if like anyhow, I'm going to install in the classroom and I will be showing that, or I may be access the one of your systems and I will be installing that.
Okay.
If you can do that, you download and keep it ready, all those things, so that you can do along with me.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Lakshman.
Yeah. Thank you. See you guys.